Alright, so Captain Marvel. I was really looking forward to this movie after seeing the second trailer. It's the 21st film of the MCU, a franchise which I think has given us 6 solid films. The rest of them mediocre to bad. This one, I really wanted to like it, folks. I really wanted to like it. It's not a horrible film. It's very uneven. I can break it down in 3 acts. First act, didn't like it all. I thought the first act, I tried to keep I was kind of sleepy going into this because I was working on another review last night, but it falls into the same trap that a lot of filmmaking falls into, well, particularly blockbuster filmmaking falls into. They just rush right into everything. There's no sense of letting the audience get to know the characters. So we meet Carol Danvers. She's on a beach. She's bleeding. She's been in an accident. And right away, pretty much, not too soon after that, she's off on a mission with the Kree. And I'm like, oh, I don't even know who this person is yet. Why do I care about what I'm seeing? Because I don't know what's going on. We're introduced to the Skrulls early on. I was really looking forward to finally seeing the grandfather of Marvel villains finally appearing in a Marvel film. I like the design of them. I like the look of them. I'll circle around on what I thought of them and what they did in the film. I'll circle back around on that. So yeah, the first act, I just had no attachment to. The second act, it takes on a different tone. It becomes, and I'm sure you've heard this before, it becomes like a cop buddy film. A buddy cop film, however you say that. I'm not going to give anything away, but Nick Fury and Carol, they infiltrate some kind of, I think it's a SHIELD stronghold to get some information. And that's when the movie started to kind of take off. We're introduced to a fighter pilot friend of Carol's, Maria Rambeau, mother of Monica Rambeau. If you are a comic book reader or were a comic book reader at any time in the 90s, you will get that reference. Speaking of the 90s, that was another issue with the film I had, with the exception of one scene that I thought was clever, where they're trying to download some information onto an older 90s computer. This movie is like full of in-joke references to the 90s, and it does not let up, and it just becomes eye-rolling at some point. I mean, it got to a point where I was like, okay, I get it. I'm surprised that I didn't see George Costanza or Jerry Seinfeld make a guest appearance on this thing. I want to pick up where I left off about the Skrulls. Like I said, I liked the way they looked. I liked their visual design, the makeup. I didn't really like how they were portrayed. They were portrayed as like jaded Earthlings as opposed to aliens. It was like, I don't know. I just hate that when they attribute Earth-like Valley Girl characteristics to otherworldly beings. But having said that, the second act I did enjoy. That's when it took off for me. And I think it's one of the best performances. I'm scanning my memory right now. I think it's one of the best performances Samuel L. Jackson puts in as the character Nick Fury. I really enjoyed his performance. And there's also a very clever twist in the middle part. Having not read any comic books in a while, particularly those involving the Skrulls. I mean, I know the Skrulls basically from Fantastic Four. And a little bit from the Kree-Skrull War that's been depicted in various books. So I don't know if what we see in this film in the middle section of the second act, I don't know if that's something that occurred in the books. If it, at any rate, I thought it was really well done. I really liked that kind of trick or pulling the carpet out from under me. Then we arrive at the final act, and once again, I was just kind of bored. I don't know, it just got, I can't really say anything about giving it away, but there's a climactic battle scene, and there are no consequences whatsoever. It's like there's an awareness that's made, a character has all of a sudden a come to God moment, and there's this term I used to use as a kid that my friends and I used to always clown, some of these movies, about that hidden strength, or that comeback strength. And that is, in this film, it is like, you see that in loads in this movie. And at that point, you just like kind of tune out and like, okay, all right, how long is this going to take before we wrap this up? If there's no longer any challenges, I tend to get bored. If there's no longer any suspense or any risk, it's just not that interesting. And that pretty much sums up the third act of this movie. Now, I said that Samuel L. Jackson, I basically praised him for, I think, giving one of the best performances he's given in any of these films. Well, maybe Winter Soldier. Maybe Winter Soldier was better, but I don't know. Maybe it was also the de-aging was so fascinating in this. I mean, it is totally seamless. I felt like I was looking at a young Nick Fury, a young Samuel L. Jackson, and I gotta give it up to Afro Nerd, my man D-Bird on Afro Nerd Radio. I'm 90% sure that this was all CGI. There's a part of me that says maybe they just caked up so much makeup on this guy, because it's unbelievable. If it's CGI, then I have to eat crow and let my man D know that hey, you were right, man. Because now Coulson's de-aging didn't work so well. It worked well in brightly lit scenes, like outdoor scenes, but there's a scene in a stairwell where he looks like he's been injected with a face full of Botox, and it just looked really plastic and wax-like. But other than that, kudos to the CGI team, man. I see why it cost so much to make this film. I think most of it went into the de-aging, because Fury is in like just about every scene, and that's rotoscoping on nearly every scene of this film. But getting back to what I said about Samuel L. Jackson, how his performance was so good, I gotta say the exact opposite of Brie Larson. Now, going into this, no one could avoid all of the political stuff that was going on behind the scenes. Brie said some things about, the type of critic that she would prefer reviewing her film. I don't even know if she said it like that. She just wanted to say I think she said something like, it wasn't a film made for a certain type of critic. I'm not even going to go there with the whole thing. I just took it as she was saying that there's a majority, 67% of a particular type of critic reviewing films out there, and she wanted to see more. I mean, I can understand that. Maybe she said it the wrong way. A lot of people took it that way. Again, I'm not going to jump into that pool whatsoever. I was more offended or more, taken aback by the issue she had with the TSA agent. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. So none of that is playing into what I'm about to say. Her performance was just so flat. 90% of her on screen was just, her performance was wooden. She doesn't do much in terms of expression with her face. If she had to do a role like what Tom Hardy did with Bane in Dark Knight Rising, if she had to do a role where she had no lines and she had to emote with her face and her expressions, it wouldn't be a very good movie. It would not be a very good movie. She does perk up in that middle section. I don't know if Samuel L. Jackson, the interplay there, is what brings it out in her, but for the most part, she goes from stone face to maybe a sense showing happiness or joy or revelation or something other than just looking stern. She just came off as flat. I gotta think there were better performances in the audition room. If you remember, I really went in on Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I thought her physique wasn't that great, and that was the main thing. I just didn't think she wasn't very convincing as a super strong Amazon. But by the time I saw Justice League and when I saw Wonder Woman, I was like, okay, she doesn't have the physical presence that I would think Wonder Woman should have, but she put her heart into that role and she won me over. And she did a better job as Wonder Woman than Brie Larson did as Captain Marvel. There's an ongoing subplot that involves a cat, and it starts off as cute and gets tiresome very quickly, and by the third act it becomes absolutely ridiculous. However, I would say that if you are a cat lover, I am more of a cat guy than a dog guy, you should sit through the credits, because there is a bonus scene that will make it worth your while. If you miss this scene, you won't have missed anything critical to the story. There is another bonus scene that happens midway through the credits that definitely moves the story forward. So you want to stay there for that. It ties right into Endgame. And that's kind of another thing. There were a lot of this movie felt like it was just either acknowledging things that we've already seen. There's a I guess a high watermark scene that defines characteristics of Nick Fury. I'm not going to say anything more than that, which was kind of eye-rolling, kind of ridiculous, unnecessary. But then there are other things, which I think is problematic with the film and a lot of other films like this, where they wedge things in to say, okay, you're going to get this coming up next in a few movies. This is going to be coming up next in a few movies, so we have to put it in here. With a different actress in the lead, a little bit more upfront development, and a more thought-out third act, as opposed to the flashbang special effects. Let's get this wrapped up. You know what's going to happen. This is what we have to do to get to the end point. With a better third act than that, this could have been a really good film. As it is, I was wavering between 2 reels and 3 reels. I'm going to give it 2.5 reels. And side note, I don't know if I've ever let you know how my system works. So let me just say, 1 reel is horrible. 2 reels is fair to okay. 3 reels, good. 4 reels, great. 5 reels, classic. I think I've maybe given 2 pieces of work or 2 projects 5 reels in the, how many years I've been doing this? 3-4 years now. So like I said, I was wavering between 2 to 3 reels. I'm going to go 2.5 on this. And it's getting that half reel because of that middle act, where I got like a really kind of fresh take on a buddy cop trope. That worked for me. So there you have it. 2.5 reels for Captain Marvel. I'm a little disappointed. It could have been a better film if some of those things had been addressed, but 2.5 reels. Having said that, this is the Unshaven Q's Mobile Reviews. Go check out the film. Let me know what you think. Tell me where you think I'm wrong. Tell me where you think I'm right. All right? And that's the martini.